Now that we're into this realm of where Pinterest can really be used to leverage our creative businesses, what are some tips that you would give to new business owners about really using Pinterest for their business? Hey, it's Emily with Wildleaf Collab. These expert interviews are just real people, real conversations with expert advice. So sit back, grab your notebook, a cup of coffee, and listen to what they have to say. And don't forget to click subscribe so that you can stay tuned every time we have a new expert on the show. Welcome to this very special episode of The Wildleaf Show. As you know, I am doing a new series. It's all about what I wish I'd known when I started. And today, for that series, I am joined by the very talented Pinterest strategist, which is a mouthful, Tammy Jones, owner of Milani Social Media Marketing. I said that correct, right?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. So welcome, Tammy. Thank you so much for being on with me today.
Thank you for having me on.
Yay. Now, Pinterest is something that I feel is super underutilized. And I feel like a lot of business owners too agree, but they just don't even know where to start. So I'm glad that today we're going to talk about what you wish you'd known, or like what you see new business owners wishing they had known in regards to using Pinterest to like market our businesses, our products, our services. And so welcome. Again, very excited to have you on. So tell us, before we dive into the topic, tell us a little bit about you and your business journey.
Okay. My journey has taken quite a few paths, from going to school for business management and marketing to actually go into corporate. Got almost all the way through the degree and decided I didn't want to be in corporate. It wasn't where my heart was. It wasn't where I wanted to be.
Sure.
My family's always been important. And of course, living the corporate life, you're working 50, 60, 70 hours a week and not at home with your family.
Mm-hmm.
So that I've always known I didn't want to do that, even though I started to go to school for it. I've worked with a nonprofit, which was actually where my heart was, for women who were pregnant and in, bad situations and didn't really have a good family structure. But even though my heart was there, that doesn't pay. So I started, and it's very, very tedious, and it's very heartbreaking, when you work like that. So,
sure.
So I've done a lot of coaching and life skills and parenting skills and those types of things. And so that led me to, what can I do? What can I do to where I can be with my family, be with my grandchildren, still make a living, and do something that I enjoy?
Yes, I think that's what all of us entrepreneurs are striving toward.
It is. And so, I discussed it with my husband, and we're trying to figure it out, and I've been on Pinterest since you had to get an invite for it, which was March of 2010 when they launched.
Which you and I were talking about before we jumped on, and I was like, well, clearly I got on after because I never got invited. So you are like OG, super cool. So
yeah, that was in March of 2010, and I was working at Verizon at the time, still in corporate. And some of my colleagues and friends were like on this new thing, and they're pinning all this stuff, and I'm like, what in the heck are you doing? Oh, you got to check it out. You need to join. And at first I'm like, no, I don't have time for that, and it was just one of those things I saw as a time waste, and it can be, it can be a black hole that once you get on there, you're stuck.
Oh, yes.
But, knowing that I'd been on there that long, and I had, some fairly extensive knowledge, I started seeing people advertising businesses and services and products starting to come up that you could purchase, directly from there.
Yeah.
Not even just look at it and then go to their website. So I decided, well, let's take a look at this. So I started researching a little bit because I'm a constant learner. I love learning. I'm always wanting to know new things. If there's a better way to do something, I want to know about it.
That's awesome.
That's just part of who I am. And started finding, that there were courses that taught you how to do that, how to be a manager,
Mm-hmm.
how to manage other people's accounts, or, how to build your business using Pinterest for your own. And so kind of went from there. This started last year, been almost a year. So I'm still fairly new, still kind of waddling my way through, getting everything figured out. But that's kind of where I got started, was, just trying to find my next pivot and still be able to help entrepreneurs, help women who are trying to better their lives. So
that.
That's what I do.
Very cool.
Women entrepreneurs. And I have not niched down to a specific niche because, it's fairly easy to do broad scale and still help. Eventually I may niche down. But my goal by the end of this year is to have Milani Social Media Marketing doing social media, all platforms, not just Pinterest. So
very cool. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us. I love that. And I think that's kind of how a lot of entrepreneurs start, is just we realize that we're passionate about it, we love it, and we make a go at making a career out of it. So I love that you shared that. And that's relatable. Like, all experts start somewhere, right? So
and
yes.
Just keep trying to get better.
Yes, love that, which we're going to talk about today. So hopefully people in this have taken away that Pinterest is more than crafts and recipes, which I know, like you said, rabbit hole. I totally get sucked into Pinterest and just looking at all the things. And like, I'm a wedding photographer and a graphic designer, and I have a lot of my clients bring Pinterest, or Pinspiration, like we like to call it now. Like, it's got its own verb now. But Pinterest really is a visual search engine. People are looking at Google, and then they're looking at Pinterest for ideas, especially creative industry, creative related things. So on that note, like, what do you wish you had known starting out? Because you've been with Pinterest since the beginning and you kind of watched it evolve. So like, what do you, now that we're into this realm of where Pinterest can really be used to leverage our creative businesses, what are some tips that you would give to new business owners about really using Pinterest for their business? Because I know we all hear like, gotta use Pinterest, be on Pinterest, but like, how, why, what do I do?
Find someone who knows about it and ask questions. Find someone who is on there and using it and ask questions. Or if you, because there's tons of resources for it, and not necessarily even paid resources,
Sure.
The free resources. But a lot of that can overwhelm you too. So the very, very first thing to do is just basically get in the platform and start playing around. Get an account created, start saving things, start taking a look at your business. So start typing in and looking for other people doing your business. So like photography, type in photography. And at the top of the screen, where you type in what you're searching for, right to the right of that is a little drop-down menu, and you can actually take it to people. And if you go to people who are in photography, you can go to their accounts and kind of see what they're doing.
Like that.
That's one of the strategies that I use as I sign new clients on, or even ongoing with the same clients, is to see what's going on in their industry, to keep up with, the top performers, and see what they're doing. Because why reinvent the wheel if someone's already been there and they have 1 million people that are, in their following? See what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And then just make it your own. So
yes, that's one of the things that I teach in my e-course as well. With anything, starting any business, Pinterest or not, like, look at your competitors. Obviously, don't copy them, but just see what they're doing. If you have no idea where else to start with your competitors and just see what they're doing and how you might be able to use that too.
Yeah, start there. And obviously, your brand voice is going to be different. Your style is going to be different. One of the things that I did was, in the couple courses that I did take, was I found things that were lacking in each one. So this one taught me, maybe the basic skills, but then this one taught me these skills over here, but then they didn't really marry the two together.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that I was looking at in creating a course, is because one was taught by people telling you how to do it, but have other people doing it for them. And then one was taught by someone who did it, but didn't do it for other people.
Sure.
So you get the different perspectives. And that lacks some things. So take what you can find and, improve upon it. And then as you see, and as you're on the platform, start getting creative and start creating pins. Now, being in a photography yourself.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So like, I think a lot of us are on Pinterest now, right? Like we're pinning all the craft projects. Like I was just telling you, like I just made this the other day because I found it on Pinterest. So like we're on there, right? So like how do we use it now? What do I pin? Like what am I going to pin? Like for photographers, what should we be pinning?
Pictures of your photography, obviously. You want to have a portfolio that showcases your work. So when people land on your profile, they're going to see those. So you want to have those. If you do blog posts, you want to share your blog posts, how to prepare for a photo shoot, what to look for in a photographer, locations for different types of photography. So there's all kinds of different things you can do depending on the niche that you're in.
So it sounds like it's kind of like SEO related too. Like whatever kind of, especially with blog posting. So like whatever you're blogging about, you should be pinning about too.
Absolutely.
Love
and
that.
you can create multiple pins from the same blog post.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't have to come up with all new content to stay relevant and to stay fresh. And absolutely, SEO is so key, and keyword research is top, because since it is a visual search engine, you want to make sure that you have those keywords in there that people are going to find you. And if you don't have those keywords in there and you don't have that SEO, they're not going to find you.
Right.
You're not going to grow your account. You're not going to get the clicks back to your website. You're not going to get the people to you. So there's quite a bit that goes into it.
There is. And I think when people hear, especially new business owners, we hear SEO, we kind of groan and roll our eyes and we're like, I don't have time for that. But, and I can say from personal experience and doing it myself, it's a process. SEO is not overnight. And that's why even if you're just doing a little bit, it's building, it's helping build. So for me, that would be my tip is with the blog posts and the Pinterest, like it does not have to be a lot, but just do it, because not doing it is the worst thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. And consistency.
Yes.
I mean, consistency is absolute key in everything, but in Pinterest especially, if you aren't pinning regularly, Pinterest will not show your pins above anybody else's. So
that's good to know.
To be consistent, whether that's 2 pins a day or 100 pins a day, be consistent at it. It is way better to pin 1 or 2 pins a day than 50 on the weekend and have no other activity through the week.
Sure, that makes sense. So to me, that sounds overwhelming. Like 100 pins a day, which granted, like that's in the goal, right? Like that's like if I hire you, like that's what you're doing for me, basically, is 100 pins a day on my behalf. But do you have any kind of like, my first thought is there any kind of schedule or like Hootsuite or something like, is there like a Pinterest version of Later that like I can do all this batch in one day and then for a whole month it posts for me?
Absolutely. And it's the only way I can do my job.
So which ones do you recommend?
There's only one approved scheduler for Pinterest, and that's Tailwind.
Okay.
And it optimizes the times of day you go in and set it up. And basically it has done all this research for you depending on what niche you're in.
Nice.
So it tells you the optimum times depending on the number of times you've told that you want to pin per day. And for an individual to do that, that would be about impossible, because there are times at 2:30 a.m. it says you need to be pinning, and there's times at 4:37 in the afternoon, and who has time to jump in there and pin?
Yeah, I'm not waking up at 2:30 to pin. Unless I have insomnia, and then I'm just on it anyway.
But it's a time saver and it's a lifesaver, and you can spend 2 hours a week and schedule out your whole week, or 3 or 4 hours and have your whole month scheduled out.
Love that. I'm all about batching and just set it and forget it. Like, let's crockpot our lives and set it and forget it.
I love that. I haven't heard that one before. But yeah, so yes, there is a scheduler that you can use. I highly recommend it to anyone who really wants to take it seriously. There's a free trial. You get 100 pins for free. And just start with 3 or 4 or 5 a day. Don't worry about the large numbers, because it takes time to build up.
So what about pinning other people's things? Does that still count as you pinning, or does it have to be like you're uploading it, you're pinning it from your website?
You want to share other people's content, because that's going to extend your reach, because as you're sharing their content, that's going to get their audience in front of you and vice versa. So you always want to share other people's content as well. And that's one of the other things. There's group boards that you can join to where everybody shares everybody's stuff. There's Tailwind has tribes. So you join tribes, and then, you share for every pin you pin in the group, you have to share one of theirs. So you want to share that to extend your reach. And also, when you're first starting out, you may not have a lot of content.
Right. That was kind of what I was thinking. Like, what if I don't have a ton of pictures or photos to pin? What if I don't have a ton of blog posts? Like, then what?
You just start and you share more content of everyone else's to begin with, but make sure it's relevant to what you do. Don't just share a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with your business, because then you're going to get the wrong people.
Sure. Well, I like what you said. And I know, again, it's like SEO and it's overwhelming, but you said keyword research, know your keywords. And it's real. It can be overwhelming and it can be daunting, but it can also be pretty easy to find keywords to at least help navigate and narrow down what you could be pinning about. And I know I did that for my photography business. I have, 10 or so boards, and it's like bridesmaids, outfits, groomsmen, bouquets, anything that is a touch point for your business. Like, as a graphic designer, I have logos, color palettes, anything that is like a tool for you could really be a board that is a mix of your own pins and other people's pins.
Absolutely. Just keep several boards that are only your content.
Okay.
Towards the top. So definitely you need to share, but you also want to have boards that are just yours. So only your designs, only your photography,
okay.
Those things. You can now even share videos on Pinterest. So
that I didn't even know. See, I'm behind.
So you could link all of your YouTube interviews.
Okay.
And have, a board just for your YouTube.
Look at this. I'm like getting free lessons while I'm doing an interview. This is amazing. You better believe it's on my list now.
and everybody else is going to get the free lesson. So, as long as we're helping people. But you can also share your Instagram onto Pinterest.
Okay.
The way that you can engage people from other platforms to get them there is going to be a win. Plus,
you know what? That's so true. Like total aha moments now that you're saying this out loud. Like, I pin from Instagram all the time. Why have I not done that? Like, pinned my own Instagram to my Pinterest boards. Duh. So thanks. That's a good tip. Great tip.
Instagram, you can actually pin from Tailwind to your Instagram.
Okay.
That feature. And then you can also boost your Instagram posts with Pinterest. So you can actually just have your links that you're sending to Instagram automatically go to a board in your Pinterest for you.
Nice.
So you don't even have to do that double work.
Nice.
Plus, it's more content. So that's getting you more pins per day and getting your account boosted up because it's saying, okay, this person's relevant, they're being consistent, they're pinning more. And people like all different types of pins. So depending on who it is and what they're looking for, they may resonate better with a pin from Instagram than a long pin that you have that's actually Pinterest.
Sure.
So
I love that.
Photography, you're probably going to want the standard size pin, which is what Pinterest prefers, but
okay.
That doesn't mean you have to always do those.
Mostly, I guess the main takeaway is just pin. Like, just pin it. If you want, and you should be leveraging Pinterest for your creative business, you should just be pinning and be consistent at it, is what it sounds like.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there's really great tools out there, like you said, like Tailwind to help schedule. That way you're not having to wake up at 2:30 in the morning to pin things. Recycle your content. I am all about recycling content. Like, taking a blog post, making it into Instagram, making it into Facebook, putting it on Pinterest. Like, there's great ways to recycle what you already have, so you're not having to sit down and make this whole game plan of new content that's just for Pinterest.
No, it can utilize what you're already doing. It's just
love that.
Another platform to help increase your business.
Awesome. Well, last couple minutes here, do you have any kind of like key takeaway or final thoughts that you really want people to just keep in mind?
Pinterest is a long-term game. It's not a short-term thing. You're not going to see immediate results. It is very, very hard to get immediate results because it takes time to build up, and it takes time, just like with your Instagram and your Facebook pages. They didn't happen overnight. So they do take time. Be mindful of where you're sending the pins to.
In what way? What do you mean?
Don't have a pin going to, say, your website and the pin not even have anything to do with it. So make sure that your pictures are relevant to where the pin is going.
Sure. I've seen Pinterest actually ask that now. It's like, did you find what you were looking for? When you click on a pin, it takes you to a website. So I assume that they're docking people if it's kind of like false advertising.
Well, they're trying to make sure that everything's going where it's supposed to go.
Sure. That makes sense.
Staying on top of that. So that's one key. Just know that it is a longer term game. Make sure that where your pins are leading to are where you want them to lead to. Verify your website through Pinterest. If you don't verify and have a business account, you're not going to be able to see analytics. You're not going to see if the traffic's making it to your website, and you're not going to be able to see, what pins are performing to know to make more of those.
And that I actually just did, I don't know, within the last year or so. And you basically get is it like a key or like some kind of like code that you have to like associate with your website, right? To like tell Pinterest, because it's like a Facebook pixel. If people are familiar with Facebook pixels, it's the same thing. It's basically just helping track and validate that you are who you say you are.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. The other thing would be get rich pins.
And what is that?
A rich pin actually gives more of a description and shows underneath your pin. So if you don't have rich pins, you don't see any text under there. So you have to make sure you have text on the pin itself. The other thing that rich pins do is it makes sure that your links are working, and it scrapes your website every now and then to make sure that that's still valid. So
okay.
You have, say, a broken link in your website or something, it automatically updates that for you. Whereas used to, you would, have to go in and fix all that. So.
Yeah.
It also shows more, like if you have recipes, it will actually show some of the recipe. So it's
love that. If I'm on Pinterest and I click on a pin and it doesn't show me the ingredients, I almost don't actually end up using it. Like that's a great point. Like, yeah, show me the ingredients, show me the rich text so that I don't have to follow a link to get where I'm going.
Yep. So rich pins, absolutely. And Pinterest's preferred ratio is 2 to 3 for a pin. So 600 by 900 is what they have come out and said is what they prefer. So depending on what you're using, make sure those ratios are right. And
and she means, just for clarification, 600 pixels by 900 pixels, like the size of and I think there's apps like Canva where you can just click on Pinterest and it will automatically preload the template. But like, that's what she's saying, in case people out there don't know.
Yes. And actually Canva doesn't have the correct.
Nope. Well, hey, good thing we mentioned that.
Theirs is like 735 by 1,000 and something. I always go in and still change it. If you just click at the top in Canva, you can resize it. You can resize it in pretty much any software. You can use that one, but it's not that far off from what they say they recommend. You can use it. So if you don't remember to change it, it's not that big of a deal. And if you're creating long pins, like you see the infographics and stuff, just be mindful that most people are viewing Pinterest on a mobile device, not a computer. So keep that in mind. So you want to have the most relevant content towards the top of that pin because it's going to cut some of it off.
Good info. Great tips. Well, that's awesome. Great summary. Thank you so much. That was good stuff.
You're welcome. And one of the things that Pinterest is getting really big with now is also ads, paid ads.
Okay.
They're called promoted pins.
Mm-hmm.
They're not called ads, and they are campaigns. But if you do those, you can actually get a really good ROI, return on investment, at a much cheaper rate.
Than like Facebook or Instagram or something like that?
Yeah. Pinterest, you can get as low as about 13 cents a click.
Wow.
The highest that I've seen on a couple of them that I've run was like 65 cents a click. When you're talking about leads or sales, that's very, very low.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. Especially if anybody's ever run unsuccessfully a Facebook ad and you end up paying $1 per click, 13 cents ain't nothing.
Yeah. Even 65.
Right.
But it's a great way to build if you're having sales, or to build your email list, or, anything that you have coming up, like a course or something like that. So.
Good to know. Great. Awesome. Well, good info. Thank you so much. I feel like we covered a lot, but it was all very good info. I think the main message is it's like SEO. It's a slow game, but it's a worthwhile game, and you just gotta, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you really should participate.
Yes, you should.
Great. Well, tell people first off, tell people where they can find you.
Okay. Multiple places. Just about anywhere you search, though, Tammy L. Jones 73, and you will find me.
And that'll be in the description below.
And that's on Instagram, that's on Pinterest, that's on Facebook. You can search me by my company name as well. That one's just a lot harder for people.
But we'll put that below as well.
Social media marketing. And then you can email me directly too. So if you have questions or something, definitely just reach out. I love helping people. I love talking about Pinterest. I mentor people going through Pinterest. So, trying to figure it out.
So she's your lady, basically. Love it. Love it. Well, you are graciously including a freebie for people who watch. It is the content calendar. Tell us a little bit about that.
It is a overview of what is best to pin during different months. So
awesome.
What's happening in January, February, March. And it's usually a lot sooner than what you think you should be.
See, hint, you should check it out.
So you should really be pinning for sales and things coming up into Christmas if you are a product seller in, September.
Sure, because like you said, it's a long-term game. It's not immediate, so that makes sense.
And people are shopping then. So if you're a wedding photographer, people are looking well in advance to find one and get them scheduled, because they also want you to do other things. So be pinning well ahead of when you think. But this calendar breaks down all 12 months, and it's just a broad overview of the general things that will be good in that month.
Very cool. So definitely check that out. Follow the link and make sure you grab your copy as well. So, well, thanks so much for joining me today, Tammy. I feel like it has been really great info, and I learned things. So I'm very appreciative of that as well. So thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Yes.
I hope everyone has learned a little bit about Pinterest and is comfortable enough now to at least jump in and try it.
Gonna see so many more creative businesses pinning now. All right. Well, thank you so much. And until next time, bye, Wild.